Hi guys, this is Kyle of the Random Hour. Devin and I have pulled our powers together, and we've decided to make a movie review podcast called Popcorn Buckets. So as you guys can probably tell, I've revamped some of Devin's podcasts on More Sports. So check out the descriptions for the new and interesting descriptions that there are. But check out Popcorn Buckets. It's a new movie-based podcast. There'll be a link in the description, so don't be afraid to check it out. See you guys in the episode.
Okay, how do I sound now?
You sound a lot better, actually.
Sound a lot better?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that, you know what? I wonder if it was my phone speaker.
I swear, if it was you the entire time, I'm going to be mighty upset.
Do you even want to plug in the microphone, or you just want to roll with it today?
No, we're rolling with this, Devin.
Okay.
I am too scared.
You're too scared?
Yeah, if we restart it, we won't be able to get it back.
That's the motto around here when we record for either podcast. We're good.
If we're going good, just start praying.
If everything goes good, start praying, buckle up.
Okay, Devin. I have some extra stuff we can talk about since we're going to make this a full episode.
Okay, let's go ahead and start off with that.
Which one do you want first?
The extra stuff, since you've already got it pulled up.
Which one? You have options.
Option number one?
All right, so as we all know, you guys have probably heard by now. What was her name? Laura? Shit, I don't know how to pronounce her name.
I think her last name's Richardson.
Sha'Carri Richardson apparently was kicked out of the Olympics for possession of weed or having weed in her system. This was in a place where weed was legal, and she recently lost her mother, and it was this whole big thing. So she was banned from the Olympics for I think like 5 years.
I thought she was only supposed to miss her one event, the 100 meter, and they said that she could possibly do the 4x4 relay. Did they make it more stricter?
That could be it.
Okay.
I've got a lot of other people that were banned from the Olympics for like really bad reasons.
Okay.
But I'm going to stick on this real quick before we go on to similar cases of Sha'Carri Richardson.
Okay.
I think I got her name right that time, Devin.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Are you proud of me?
I'm very proud of you.
Great, because I'm not.
You said great, I'm not.
Low self-esteem, my boy. All right, but there's about 9, 12, what? There's about 9 transgender athletes that are competing in the Olympics this year. So I thought I'd run through a couple of them in divisions that they're going to be competing in. So you have Tiffany Abreu, a Brazilian volleyball player, Nikki Hiltz, a United States track and field, Laurel Hubbard, New Zealand weightlifting. We talked about her on the previous episode.
Yeah, we did.
You were going to say something?
No, I mean, I remember we talked about her already, and I feel like another article popped up about her, unless my newsfeed didn't refresh. Because like I've been reading a bunch of the Google Sports news feeds.
No, she popped up, but I can't. If you want to like look up some results, because I think she did compete already. But go ahead and check while I read off a couple more names.
Go ahead. I'm gonna see because the game's already started. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, Robin Lambert, Australian para-athletes. Lambert was already won medals on the international stage. Ness Murphy, Canadian para-athlete. Valentina Pertello, an Italian para-athlete. Quinn, a Canadian soccer star. Cece Telfer, United States track and field. Chelsea Wolf, United States BMX. Little disclaimer. These are all the people that are considered transgender. Okay?
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah, I'm following.
Unfortunately, the Olympics also does a thing, or most sports do a thing, where if you are non-binary, then you're also counted as a transgender athlete, and it just causes a bunch more controversy than it should because of that regulation. But you remember the soul cap that we talked about? Devin,
Yes.
do you remember the soul cap we talked about a couple episodes
Yeah.
back?
Yeah, we
About
did.
okay. Well, the Olympics aren't looking up to be very racially diverse.
Yeah, because that was the problem we talked about a couple episodes back, how they were trying to ban them because apparently they gave African American
Unfair
swimmers.
advantage, which
Yeah.
they didn't. They would actually increase drag. Um, keep that in your back pocket, okay? We've got another topic similar to that.
All right.
We're doing social justice today. So there's some athletes who have been kind of banned from competing due to natural testosterone levels in their body.
Yep. Typical
Um,
PED.
like with Laurel Hubbard, we talked about how she had to test a certain level for so many months. But there's a couple athletes who are cisgender, which means that assigned when they were assigned at birth, they were born female. They were having issues. They had too much testosterone naturally. So
Really? So their body produced testosterone more naturally, so they got banned?
Yep. There's like a lot of them that got banned. I'm trying to look up the names, but I'm not seeing them. Samina, a 30-year-old South African, has been banned from competing in any race from 400-meter to a mile after World Athletics ruled in 2018 that to ensure fair competition, women with high testosterone levels must take medication to reduce them to compete at middle distance races. There's a let's see. Same role has sidelined black women athletes, including Olympic champion Caster Semenya, CC Telfair. Did I include CC Telfair when I was listing those off? CC Telfair is one of the U.S. track and field
Yeah.
transgender athlete. I don't know if I said that.
You didn't, but you did mention it earlier.
But yeah, there's a lot of problematic stuff going on. Advocates have been calling for more affordable swim lessons for two of the 26 women of the U.S. Olympic swim team are black, including Simone Manuel, who is the first African American female swimmer to win an individual gold medal. Yeah, I'm not seeing where the other athletes are included. Policies of pre-association reporting events include Olympics are often seen as race neutral, said L'Oreal Martin, a sociology professor at Louisiana State University who studies race and education through sports lens. See, a lot of these are claiming to be like very inclusive, but you got a lot of racial bias going in. Nambia, female runner banned from Olympic 400 meters over high testosterone level. This was for, let me see if I can find the name. 18-year-old female runners. It was two 18-year-old female runners from Nambia who won't be allowed to compete. They're sidelined. Caster Semenya and okay, the two runners are Beatrice. I'm going to butcher this name, but I'm trying. I promise. Maslini and Christine Mamboa. So there's two more. There's a lot of issues like think there's one more source I have. The big continues to prevent black athletes from competing. And this article talks about Richardson. And then, sorry, I should have this more organized.
It's all good. We go. It's all good. But no, I mean, it's like I do feel like the Olympics is still in that old school era, if that makes sense.
Yeah, where it's like old white men.
Yeah, that's a good example of. I feel like they're still in that phase, and they're slow. They need to slowly, progress to like I'd say like a modern era. Because didn't we talk on the podcast episode about? Didn't you make a prediction here in a couple of years that there might be a non-binary league?
No, I said there should be.
Okay.
Since it's one of those things where it's not inclusionary, I think there should be a division for non-binary people, like alongside male, female, and non-binary, which gives people more freedom to like compete with how they identify. I'm not
Okay.
sure I'm not sure what policies would need to be in place to keep like people from just jumping around as they see fit. But
Right.
I think a third inclusionary league would definitely help be more inclusive and help with stuff like that.
Okay. I remember we did talk about last podcast episode.
It's also mentioned that the South African runner Caster Semenya is a lesbian, so I don't know if that was a factor in that decision.
Yeah, Lord, it probably was. To be honest with you, it probably was. You know how people are.
Yeah.
It's like you said. It sounds to me like the Olympics is like you said, like old school modern white men.
Well, it's not just that. This affects like intersex people a lot. You know, like people that are born with like varying testosterone amounts, like guys with more estrogen than testosterone in the system, people with combined amounts of genitals, varying amounts of chromosomes that typically would occur in just a male or a female. Like the in between stuff, it happens a lot in nature, and the intersex with has like a number of chromosomal, gonadal, hormonal, or genital features that causes their bodies to physically manifest in some combination of stereotypical male or female biological features. So, like with a third inclusionary league, that would actually be a great help. Different cultures have different amounts of, you know, there are some cultures that have a secondary or actually, what's it called? Help me with the word, Devin. Identity. Thanks, Devin.
Oh, is that the word you're thinking of? I'm trying to think of like some big fancy word. I'm like,
Well, no,
identity?
that would affect different. What's it called? That would affect. Why can't I think today, Devin?
I don't know if you're like me. Did you wake up kind of slumpy or this dragon?
Dude, I didn't get much sleep. I haven't gotten much sleep in a couple days.
Whew. Oh,
So,
I know you were busy yesterday.
hold up. Oh yeah, I went to Safari and it was not good.
The wildlife safari?
Yeah, from my standpoint as an ecology major, that place is probably going to get shut down in the next year or two.
Oh, did it get bad?
Uh, a lot of stuff wasn't up to code. A lot of the caged animals that weren't in the safari enclosure had improper enclosures, were sickly, didn't have proper care.
Really?
Hmm.
Lord, you better be a whistleblower. I haven't been up there in years. I personally don't like it.
Okay, I got some more.
Okay.
Um, you got Caster Semenya, Francie Osaba of Burundi, and Margaret Wabu of Kenya, who each prohibited from taking part in the 800-meter event in Tokyo. There's also one who had an abortion recently, and she put down the wrong abortion on the thing on the sheet, and she's banned.
Wait. So she had an abortion.
A legal abortion, yes, and then
Illegal?
legal.
Okay.
It was legal, and then it ended up with her. She was recovering at home, and somebody came to like talk to her to get the paperwork, and she didn't hear them knock, which made a whole fiasco. And when she was filling out the paperwork, finally, she messed up on the date that the abortion was. So she was banned for I don't know how long.
What?
This
Lord.
is also a black athlete, so.
Hey, did you lose me? I got a notification. I don't know if that sounded out for a
I
second.
still got you.
Okay, good.
But yeah.
That's ridiculous.
There's about 5 black athletes that are kind of sidelined.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, she can't compete because she chose to.
She got an abortion legally, like she was allowed to, but because they came to do the paperwork when she was recovering, so she didn't hear them, like knock at the door. So they made it a big thing, and then, like she messed up a couple numbers on the date that she got the abortion on the paperwork, and then she can't compete for like I don't know how long.
She's probably doing a couple events, just like the Richardson lady. She probably got to miss her first event, and probably miss like 2 or 3 events, and then go on to the last. But that's still ridiculous, though. That's just that's a personal matter. That's her personal.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't think the committee should know. The Olympic Committee should know that she did that. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, why do they need to know that? Like, why does that matter?
I don't know. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into this. It doesn't seem like things add up, from my opinion.
I mean, that sounds like that's just too. Like, I don't understand how that has to affect with her performance. And like, I can understand if it was like, say, a week before. Like, I feel like that's like a medical. Like, I know they probably do like medical paperwork too. Are you taking it? You know what I mean? Because athletes get banged up. I could see that being like a medical review. Like, have you had medical surgery? And then maybe we have like a discrete, like like a private, separate sheet, like a discrete sheet describing what it was. But other than that, I don't think they should just be like, "Oh, have you had an abortion within the last 10 days?" Like, no, don't ask that. Or if she had it like months ago, then she should be good. But if she had, you get what I'm trying to put down?
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Okay, so another one I got. All right, you know the Soul Cap thing?
Yep.
All right, so a Norwegian handball team, a women's Norwegian handball team, wanted to wear longer shorts, and were being denied in a similar fashion to the Soul Cap, saying it would create an unfair advantage.
If they wore longer shorts.
Yeah, instead of the, like bikini thing.
If anything, that would slow them down, I would think.
Yeah, I would assume so, because more fabric to
Yeah, you're the science guy. Do you explain
more modest
behind it?
But hold on, I was also looking up another thing. I was trying to figure out who this guy was. I can't find his name now. But they were denied it, claiming it would give an unfair advantage. The shorts clearly wouldn't, but the rule seems to. It was more like volleyball shorts.
Oh.
It seems more in place for the male gaze than it was to for functionality.
That sounds about right.
They were told the team was told if they wear them, the entire team will be banned.
Wait, the entire team would be banned if they wanted to wear long shorts.
Yeah, and they're like halfway to the thigh.
Oh, they're like halfway, so like they're covering. They're
Or
not covering their
somewhat.
knee.
They're more like volleyball shorts than the thong thing.
Oh, okay, so they're more like volleyball shorts. What's wrong with that?
And they don't show enough, so people are upset and saying it's against the rule because male gaze.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. I mean,
Are you mad yet, Devin? Oh, go on.
I
Go
personally don't
ahead.
be looking at their butts. I'm too amazed that they can swim so fast.
What?
You,
We're talking about handball.
oh, wait, sorry. You mentioned swimming shorts, and my brain was like the swimming events. I went to the swimming events. My bad.
No. We're talking about handball, so like outdoor volleyball and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, sorry. You had said swim shorts. Like you said, the swim shorts were like
Mm-hmm.
the. Okay, sorry. I thought we were sorry. That was my mistakes. Handball. Yeah, what? Yeah, why can they not wear longer? Lord, you're right, man. They're trying to male appeal, man. Male appeal. That the old saying like sex sells kind of thing. That's ridiculous. I say wear what you want, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say wear what you want. If you want to wear something if you don't feel comfortable wearing one thing we provide, we can get. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you have literally. I think the prep time for the Olympic Games is like a decade. You know,
Yeah.
so like you got plenty of time to produce your uniforms. Well, really, no. The hosting city doesn't have to worry about that, but like the national teams have to worry about all that. Because I actually was going to apply to be an intern for Team USA at one point in their equipment field,
Yeah.
and they handle all that stuff. So I think, Lord, I'm just going to agree with you. The Olympics is like the old 1950s white man. They're not very modest.
Well, they are if it's for girls. Well, they are if it's for guys, not for girls.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to look up. There's an athlete, speaking of clothes, who was denied like 3 years in a row um, the traditional like garb his indigenous people wear like several times.
Oh,
Okay,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember it. It's
if you can
yeah.
give me the name, that'd be great because he was denied several times, and every time he ends up sneaking it in.
Oh,
Um,
I can't think of his name. Who?
I can't either, and I can't find it. And I keep looking.
Uh, I remember that, but I can't think of his name. What country was he in? Let me see if I can Google the country. Do you
I
remember the
don't
country?
remember. I thought it was Hawaii. Oh, and then I tried Polynesian. I cannot remember.
Oh,
Wait a minute, I think I found it.
you think you found it?
Tonga's shirtless flag bearer in the back of the Olympics. Okay, I found it. So, let's see. Pita Tufua of Tonga. Like the past couple years, I forget what it's called. Let me see if I can find what it is. He's from South Pacific Islands, nation of Vatu. Also stands shirtless, also quite glossy. So basically, he keeps being denied his traditional garbs for the ceremony. So he's been sneaking them in and wearing them at the thing. Um, he's in Taekwondo event in Australia, beating Papua New Guinea's Stephen Tommy in the Oceanic qualifier. Tonga 3 times, twice at the summer games, and once as a cross country skier at the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. But he's making headlines again because he wanted to wear the traditional garb, which I'm still trying to skim the name of.
And they wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him do it, but he's been doing it anyway. And he's like getting a lot of, I don't know the word, I am simping.
Simping?
Because he's showing up shirtless and like covered in baby oil.
What the heck?
People are like, man, this guy's really hot. Like saying stuff like that.
Oh, Lord.
It's positive stuff. And they're like, wait, they didn't let him wear that? But
What was that?
that was the radio. It does that, remember?
Okay. Lord Almighty, I just heard a loud like it was screaming in my ear. I thought, Lord, what was that?
Yeah, he was the flag bearer, he's referred to as the glistening flag bearer. Which is just awesome to me. I'm really happy for him. But he's been speaking out against their kind of not acceptance of it, the Olympic event, but a weird thing like this, he's not being penalized, or we're not seeing him being penalized too much for doing this. I don't know if it's because he's a guy or what, but
Probably because he's a guy.
But they're being like a lot more strict with the girls than they are the guys.
Yeah, I remember. The Brazilian games, which the Middle Eastern culture's strict,
Mm-hmm.
and they were cracking down on the. I remember the Brazilian games. One of the Middle Eastern athletes, their athletic apparel like fits to their religion. Covers their face, but it's like the Bralua material. You know what I'm saying?
No, you just cut out, and I just had a heart attack because of it.
Okay, can you hear me? I don't know how I cut out.
I can hear you now. But no, it the little thing popped up like unstable connection.
Oh no! I mean, we got 27 minutes in.
Yeah.
Better than I thought we would, but no, I remember they do being strict, especially on the Middle Eastern women, and it's not really the Olympics themselves; it's the team, the Middle East country. I can't think of which team it was, but I remember there was an incident in the Brazilian games where one in the women events, her face, her.
Yeah, hijab.
Yeah, so that was pronounced a jabab.
That's not what I said, but okay.
Oh, I thought you said jabah.
I said jahab.
Jaha. Okay, that's what I thought you said. Jaha. Jaha. Her Jaha came loose, and that was a big deal. I'm just like, it was an accident. And I think she was track and field. I think it was a field event. She was doing the pole vault.
Mm-hmm.
It just came loose when she went flying in the air, and I'm just like, this is just a little bit too extreme for her. And she got penalized and like paid a fine or something too strict.
Yeah.
Fun times here.
Mm-hmm.
Fun times here at the Olympic Games. Control the women, men do whatever they want. The old deal.
Yeah. Do you got any topics to talk about?
Besides that, just Space Jam, since we had planned to talk about Space Jam.
Okay, I'll look up, see if I can find any more recent stuff, and we can go over the results of the Olympic Games so far.
Yeah, here, I do have something. So men's basketball, Team USA men's basketball just fell to French last night. They lost their opener. It was 76-87. That happened. I knew that happened. Because, I mean, the games are going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to pop up the results real fast, we can talk about the results real fast. Just Google, type in Olympic Games, and the result
Well,
page will pop
we
up.
can do that at the end because that's just gonna be a lot of reading off numbers, and I'll go quick towards the end.
Okay.
But I do have deafblind swimmer Becca Myers.
Oh, yeah, I
Drops out
heard.
of Yeah, she drops out of the Paralympic Games after being denied personal care assistant. So basically, there's like a bunch of para athletes which are um, disabled or challenged. What's the word? A lot of them have like blind, deaf, mobility issues. Some of them, but she had to drop out because they wanted. There's 33 other Paralympic swimmers, none of whom are also visually impaired. Um, but they all have to share one, and this goes for like the entire team.
They had to share one service dog.
No, Devin, personal care assistant.
Oh, personal care. Sorry, when I thought my brain went to service dog, because I'm used to dealing with service dogs.
But yeah, this they claim it's because of COVID restrictions, but a lot of them are like cutting corners, uh, and it seems very unfair, especially um, when she's 26 years old. She was born with Usher syndrome, which is a rare genetic disorder that results in hearing loss and visual impairment. Um, she's a two-time Paralympian who has won gold medals in multiple world championships. But yeah, it seems like the Olympics are cutting costs. So what do you think about sex, Devin?
Like their gender.
No, the action.
It's all natural, and we all have needs. Oh, that's right. You know what? I did read about it. Yo, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was actually gonna call you one day. Yeah, they're like cracking down on the those living situations extremely strict.
So okay, I'm gonna give a little background. Anybody that's ever studied the Olympics, I have studied the Olympics, Devin. I actually have. Um, from what I read, if anything I read is true, never take a black light to the living situations of an Olympian place, because most of those people don't need to be sitting down to do the deed or laying down. I promise you, they've got the stamina.
Jesus Christ.
But apparently, there was rumors that the Tokyo Olympics would have cardboard beds to make it harder for people to hook up and have sex.
I was about to call you that day when I read that. I was like, I thought it was fake news. I was like, no way, this is fake. This has got to be fake news.
It's recently been confirmed that it's a rumor, but if I'm not mistaken, there was like one event in the Olympic event like years ago where a bunch of the athletes got STDs, and then a lot of people online are like being vocal, like, yeah, I used to date an Olympic athlete. Yeah, they're still gonna have sex.
Yeah, they still gonna have sex. No, I remember. It wasn't the Brazil. I actually remember for the Brazilian games. We actually talked about it because the Brazilian games was why we were at Shorter, and we talked about how the professor she brought up how this year they were actually providing with like a whole bunch of condoms to the male athletes and then birth control to the female athletes because they said she had looked up the data and she said the data for like the common STDs among them was like skyrocketing in the year before the games.
Oh yeah.
So they took precaution, bro. We were all like, what? But no.
What else? What else can we talk about? Hold on. I've got some stuff written down, scribbled down real quick. Devin, stall, quick, go.
All right, I'm gonna stall. But no, I just remember. But then let's see. There's also another thing. I know I've talked about this in the past with people, but did you know, Kyle, that the Olympics is not actually a financial success for some countries?
Oh no, yeah, I can believe that because it's like less impoverished places than the U.S. Like we are pretty impoverished, but we do it to ourselves in a way because of greed and stuff. But some of them, all that money to like host, house, it, you're basically running like a full-on event, which
Yep.
takes a lot of money to do: electricity, food, housing, all that shebang.
Yep. And and data showed that a bunch of countries will actually make their economy worse by hosting the games. Like Brazil was the most recent one. They lost a lot of money hosting the game. Excuse me, I apologize for burping in your ear.
Yeah, you do it every episode.
I know, I'm sorry.
All right, I got two more stuff for you real quick before.
All right, go ahead.
Sports Illustrated swimsuit unveils first ever trans cover star Lena Bloom, and the NHL hockey player Luke Prokop came out as gay. Recently, we talked about how one of the football in NBA, the NFL, that's what that league is called, also had somebody come out as gay. I know words. You know what I'm terrified about on this podcast, Devin?
What?
I struggle with reading, and I stim the most when we're doing your podcast episodes than I do mine.
It's all good.
My ADHD is like coming through on these episodes because I was listening a couple back to make sure we're because we have the audio issues. I think we got enough for like a very long episode of us trying to get audio sorted out, but
That was the episode that was like 4 hours long, and we had talked about the Wookiee code. I was like, I'm keeping this in here.
well, I also struggled with pronouncing Hulu.
Hulu.
We spent that. I'm pretty sure if we can get a compilation clip of me just saying the word Hulu.
Hulu. Watch live sports anywheres. Cha-ching.
It was for the podcast changing the game and then with the documentary.
Oh, that's a good documentary.
I've watched it. Have you?
I had started it, but then like Coach Dana called me to the field house, so I had to stop.
Okay.
I need to finish it, but if you want to do a review on your podcast one day, we can do it, or we can just do a segment on here one day.
See, I think we need a tertiary podcast or a third podcast to where we just like once a month we sit down, we watch a movie, and then we just talk about it. And we could call it like popcorn buckets or something, and we just take one day out of it and be like, okay, because we both are already watching a bunch of movies on our own. But I think we should just sit down every once in a while. We like randomly pick one, or we pick one to the others, like choice. Like you're more sports oriented, and I like classic monster movies more.
Yeah.
I think we should make a podcast about that and just sit down, like we both watch a movie, and then we just talk about it, what we thought.
Yeah. We've talked about it. That's all good, but not.
I talked to you about it in a frenzy, and we were like, I don't know about doing that. And I was like super excited, and then it just like killed me when you said no.
I didn't say no. I was like,
yeah, you said no. Go ahead and delete it. It's too much work.
But no, anyway. So what did you think of changing? So you've actually finished changing the game?
Yeah, I finished it.
What did you think of it, real quick? Just like a quick little synopsis of it. What I've watched so far has been pretty good.
I didn't like some elements of it.
Some elements of it?
Yeah, I didn't really like it.
I didn't understand. Let me just ask you this. Spoiler alert. Minor spoiler alert. So do you remember in the beginning, the Girl Skier?
Yes. Sarah
Okay.
Huckman, I think her name was.
Yeah, I think it was Sarah. Which I couldn't understand how she was changing the game. Was she transgender?
Yes, she was.
Okay, I thought so.
All of them were transgender. That was a whole big thing.
Okay, I haven't finished. I've got to the far. I was on before Coach Dean called me, I was on the boy that ran track. Was his name Carter? The boy, the high school boy in Minnesota, where Minnesota Was it the state of Minnesota?
I don't know. What were you saying?
Right now in changing the game, I'm at the part where after the skier girl, they focus on the boy that runs track for a girl.
Mac Beggs.
Yeah. I was in the middle of his segment, and then I was on the part where they interview his coach and his beliefs on the whole deal, and then coach called me back to the field house, and I was like, oh, I'll have to finish this later.
Okay.
That's how far I got, and I've liked it. It was pretty good. We talked about the girl that was a wrestler in Texas. They showed her first. They did her story really well.
Mm-hmm.
They brought her justice, and I didn't realize she won more than I realized.
Who?
The female, the transgender wrestler in Texas that Texas made her wrestle girls.
It's he.
Oh, sorry.
What the crap?
Oh no, did you lose me?
No. I got one of the students walking down to the road.
You got a what?
One of the students are walking down to the road.
Or you
They're
better
in their underwear.
Are they really?
Yes. I'm going to pretend like I think those are shorts. That's what we're going to do right now. But no, I definitely think we should do that podcast idea. Because we're kind of doing that with this episode where we're talking about changing the game and Space Jam.
Welcome to the Space Jam. Oh my god, speaking of Space Jam, there's something I want to talk about once we get to the Space Jam segment.
Speaking of the gays, since we're already here, apparently Las Vegas Raiders defensive end Carl Nisbet came out last month. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
But apparently a lot more people are coming out as gay in athletics. Can't tell if this article is just talking about statistics. Devin, talk
yes.
while I try to figure this out real quick.
While you try to figure this out?
Uh-huh.
All right. So, changing the game, for you guys don't know, it's a Hulu exclusive, which I'm sure they already know because we've talked about it several times before, but I'm going to do a little recap. Changing the Game is a Hulu documentary that talks about transgender athletes and I'm going to say in the high school level so far and how they changed the game in their respective sports. It's a great documentary. It's about an hour. I want to say it's about an hour and 45 minutes. If you guys have some time or your subscription to Hulu, check it out. All right. I did my sponsorship. I did my sponsorship ad.
Yeah, we're not getting paid for that. So
I know. Not yet.
Robbie Rogers made history in 2013 when he took the field for the Los Angeles Galaxy after the first openly player in professional U.S. soccer. NBA player Jason Collins, who came out in 2013 while he was still playing in league, later told NPR. Michael Sam became the first openly gay athlete to be drafted into the NFL in 2014. Then the Miami Dolphins safety John Jones tweeted horrible results in penalties and suspension. David Kope, a former NFL running back who came out in 1975, was unable to land a professional coaching job after announcing he was gay. And then Megan Rapinoe, a tennis legend, Billie Jean King, U.S. soccer superstar. And then basically this is talking about how it's easier for women who come out in sports to get jobs afterwards than it is for guys.
Yeah.
Because there's less stigma and suspicions for them.
Oh, did we mention the so let me ask you this. I don't think we didn't mention this. So you know how the San Antonio Spurs has the one head women coach, or I think she's the head.
No, we didn't talk about her. I wrote a bunch of stuff about her, but we ended up making that episode too long for me to include her, and I ended up cutting a bunch of stuff.
Okay. You want because there's issues with her about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, my first week down here, she was trending on ESPN or the well-known what's her name? She's the well-known. So anyway, you had her. Okay, I can't think of her name, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The one assistant women's coach is for the Spurs. Did she get promoted to head coach? Or there's talk of her being the head coach. And it was the big ordeal. And that well-known media commentary lady, I can't think of her name. She's well-known. She's an analyst for NBA. Do you know what I'm talking about? The blonde lady.
Yeah, with like the save sides and back.
Yeah.
I forget her name.
I forget her name. So I like how she's like always in the 2K games. She was extremely popular. I can hear her voice in my head right now, but I can't think of her name.
What the crap? I pulled up this article and all of it's redacted.
Dactic.
It's redacted. Like the lines are blacked out. Now everything's blacked out.
What in the world is that sound?
I don't know. I don't know what just happened. Like the entire screen went black.
Lord, hope you didn't break the.
We both know it's already broken.
And he just broke the computer even more. What is Bobby going to think?
I don't know. But Reggie Wayne is going to be inducted into the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
So sexualization of women. Gymnastics team tired of sexualization wears unitards.
Yep.
I can't read the rest of this article. Once again, it's redacted. That's the headline I got. Sexualization of women in sports extends even to what they wear. After teams repeated complaints about required bikini bottoms for the Norwegian team, they're being fined 150 euros, which is $175 per player.
Jesus Christ, just because they don't want to wear spandex?
Welsh paraplegic Olympian Olivia Breen recently encountered a competition official remarking that her briefs were too short and inappropriate, sharing a story led to the female athlete who have experienced similar body policing. Oh, great, we're talking about women's bodies again. For the retired soccer player Brina Skuri, the ordeal that the Norwegian team is facing is enraging and absurd, which it is. A lot of the stuff seems like it's either sexualization. Okay, here's the job thing. On the flip side, the International Volleyball Federation softened its regulations 2016 to allow players to wear hijabs in a bid to make the sport more welcoming. Something needs to change.
Yeah, it does. It will soon. I think the next games we'll see more improvement. At least I hope.
Okay, so let's do what we came here to do.
Talking about the space, I know, but it's all good. Might as well make a full episode out of this, especially since this is basically my last 3-day vacation.
Yeah. We'll end it off with talking about the statistic or the results for the Olympics so far. We're filming this on July 25th as we record this.
Yep. Dropping this August 1st.
We will not be talking about the entirety of the Olympics so far, but as of up to. But Devin, would you like to talk about Space Jam: New Legacy?
I do. And let me ask you this. I think you were. So let me tell you, I saw the weirdest thing on Cartoon Network one day. The week before Space Jam came out, I feel like you were babysitting your niece and nephew. But did you see where Cartoon Network did a Teen Titan Go special where they basically made fun of the original Space Jam?
I did not.
Bro, I saw it and I was like, what? And I flip it on and all it was like commentary during the entire movie. And they didn't even finish the movie.
Hmm.
You know, they did like the screen effects where like the Teen Titan characters would pop up
Yeah.
and they would be like, oh, it's Bugs Bunny. And then they would like draw, like they edited the movie where they could draw like funny things. Kind of like, you know, on Huddle, you can draw like squiggly lines and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they were basically making fun of the movie, and I was very upset. Like they were trashing a cult classic.
Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't know if you had seen it. I know it was the week you were babysitting your niece and nephew. I know you said they like to watch, or no, Will doesn't like Teen Titans, does he?
Yeah, he's really big into superheroes like I am.
But I can't remember which team. I can't remember which one he favored. I know Spider-Man's one. I couldn't remember if he liked the Teen Titan Go show or not.
Yeah, he does. I don't see why.
I don't see. Bro, it's their generation, bro. It ain't ours. Where we had the cool one,
Yeah.
bro.
It
They
wasn't
even,
well received in it for ours. But
bro. You know what's funny? They made a Teen Titan Go movie versus the original Teen Titans, and the original Teen Titans just destroyed them.
yeah, I know. Correct.
Oh no, I'm sorry, but anyway, Space Jam: A New Legacy.
So I was watching and I have several questions. So the referees in Space Jam 1996 and Space Jam New Legacy, are they blind?
They're extremely blind.
Like they so many fouls,
So many,
so many
bro.
kickballs. There's physics aren't apparently. Oh my goodness.
What's up?
No, I was having like a fit because like I've refereed basketball before and it was just appalling. Like I'm like that's a foul. That LeBron James is over here up and downing the basketball, which means he's just turning his hand over, which in most sects is illegal. Like you're not allowed to like just completely like do this with your hand like I'm
Really?
doing it like yeah the way he was dribbling the basketball is illegal because he was dribbling up and he's just like overturning his hands like completely like 180 with the basketball, which is illegal to dribble like that, and some refs will call you for that.
Really? I didn't know there was an illegal. I didn't know that was illegal.
Oh yeah. Granny kicked ball, and also I don't think you're allowed to use a walker. And
Bro, I know. Yeah, when they brought out the Chrono Goon, I was like, bro, how they gonna beat this man? And Granny goes, watch this, and she starts pulling out her walker. I was like, what?
dude, not just that. All of a sudden, I'm sitting here and like I keep thinking Granny's about to cuss, or another character is supposed to cuss, and then all of a sudden, Yosemite Sands starts cussing, and I'm like, what?
I
You're
know,
not who I thought.
bro. I know he starts going off on that man, and the ref just starts, the little robot just starts blowing his whistle. Bro, I was crying laughing when
No,
he
it was in the locker room when he cussed. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, well, I guess they didn't cuss so far. I guess they're not going to do it. And then Yosemite Sam cusses at LeBron James, and I'm like, huh? This is not where I thought this was going to go.
Oh, I thought he had cussed the ref out.
No. He cussed at LeBron because they were having a discussion in the locker room like halftime, and I think he said the F word. It was like it wasn't just the F word. It was like two words, and it was like a very weird cuss word to use, where it was like either the S word or the F word.
See, I thought he
Because
said the S word when he got ejected. Because, he was like,
no. I was like very confused because I had to pause it and it was like come again, and I rewound it and I listened to it like 3 to 4 times, just that one clip, and I was just like, what just happened?
Yeah, fun. I remember. Yeah, I remember that. But I thought he had also cussed when it was at the very beginning of the game, and
Mhm.
Sammy Sam got like a hard foul, and he comes up to the little robot. Oh, I forgot the robot's name. You remember what I'm talking about? The little robot that helped Don
Yeah,
Cheadle's character.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. And Don Cheadle, I was like whenever he changed height, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. So I googled, and Don Cheadle's like 5'10", and LeBron is like, I can't remember how tall LeBron is, but
LeBron
it was
Saul.
weird.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
thought it was. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
no, like I don't know. Like, it was weird.
I remember. I know exactly which. Yeah, when they first go into the server, and Don Cheadle's just like overlooking LeBron, and I was like, that's not right. I know Don Cheadle's not short, but I was like, I know he's way bigger than LeBron. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then they just did the effect where they made him taller, and then he shrinks down to his actual size. I was like, did they really? I was thinking to myself, I was like, did they really waste CGI on Don Cheadle just to be a couple inches on LeBron for just a couple of seconds?
well, he would change size a couple different times.
Okay. See, I thought that, but I wasn't sure because I was like questioning myself. I was like, is he changing sizes?
I, you know what's something that annoyed me?
Boy, I know what you did in the movie. Because I'm probably sure
Rick
that annoyed me.
Sanchez. Rick Sanchez is a scientist, so he calls um, Taz a badger, but he would clearly know that he's a Tasmanian devil.
Bro, when I saw that, I got hyped. I was like, let's go, it's Ricky and Morty! And then they were leaving. I was like, oh, man. I didn't see that cameo coming. I was like, it's Ricky and Morty!
Yeah,
But that man said, you can keep your badger. And I'm like, that's Taz. And Taz is like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's cool. I was wondering where my boy Taz was.
Steve Harvey was apparently in the movie. I don't know what he was.
I didn't see Steve Harvey.
I didn't either. I know
Unless,
Michael B. Jordan showed up.
bruh. Yo, that was funny. Freaking Sylvester Stallone's like, I found Michael. I found Michael. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, shoot. They're about to bring Michael Jordan in for a second because, he sucked up. I'm gonna have to put a spoiler in the description just in case for people.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was like, oh man, they're bringing back Michael Jordan for a cameo. He's gonna dunk for one quick second, and they're playing his entrance song, the dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun, and they're doing the smoke, and all you see is Michael B. Jordan. He's like, hey, like dazed and confused on why he's here. He's like, hey, this cat picked me out of the crowd. I'm just trying to get popcorn. I don't know what I'm doing.
Dude, and then you have, okay, so I'm looking at the cast list real quick. And you got Lola Bunny, voiced by Zendaya, okay?
That she did a really good job.
She did. I forgot it was Zendaya there for a while.
See, I did too. And
And I'm very happy they didn't sexualize her like they did.
yeah, we talked about that too in previous episodes.
Yeah, because you were upset they didn't sexualize her, and I was happy they didn't sexualize her.
No, I said people were upset.
You were implying.
Lord,
You
I know.
personally called me on my cell phone and was like, Kyle, they're not making Lola Bunny sexy. And I'm like, it is too late for this. I was about to go to bed. Why are you calling me about this? You're like, because you need to know. Thought you would care. I'm like, I do not care if they sexualize a rabbit.
Bro, I know
No,
me and me and Tommy had talked about it because he called me. He's like, Devin, what are they doing? I was like, oh no, I don't want to go down the weird Tommy train right now.
so you brought it to me, like in a panic, and I was just like, no, Devin, I don't want to. I don't want to deal
Yes.
with this.
If I have to go down the weird Tommy train, you got to go with me.
But Gabriel Iglesias with Speedy Gonzalez.
You did a really good job too. I was
Yeah.
I was happy for that one.
Let's see if there's any.
Although I kind of wish they gave his character more time. I wish the movie was a little bit more longer. There's certain tunes I wish had more screen time.
I think I deserve some type of credit. What was it? The red guy.
The the red looking monster. What's
Yes,
his name?
like when we picked Gosserman.
That's a
When
Gotham.
when we were picking out our teams, I said I would definitely put Gosserman on my team. I think I deserve something for that.
They did use him. Yep.
Yep.
And
What
then
is Stephen Yeun doing in there? Hold up. Stephen Yeun is in Space Jam, and I don't know what he was.
Steven Universe.
Stephen Yeun.
Oh, is that the guy? That guy that put his Glenn off of The Walking
Yes.
Dead? Yeah. Hey, he was the Warner Brother executive.
Oh yeah, that's right. Why did I forget that?
That's another thing. What do you think about? So remember, okay. Let's think about back to the beginning of the movie. What did you think of Warner Brothers' simulation idea? Because I was scratching my head with that
Okay,
idea.
I was like, this is a cash grab. Like clearly, they wouldn't have an algorithm to do this.
See, that's
It
what
would've-
I'm saying.
It would have made more sense for there to be an algorithm than me like, hey, Warner Brothers, I can use this. But no, they're like, Warner Brothers made this algorithm. And it was just really stupid. And don't get me started on the email format. I was like, that's not how a system like that would work. It wouldn't email you with another thing. You would have a system pop up for that, for a docket that you have for that algorithm, where you could see it would pull up certain things and show articles and stuff like that that you could use. But nope, it did that instead.
See,
Warner Brothers were geniuses.
I was scratching my head with her whole idea. They're like, LeBron, we're gonna scan you and throw you into our movies, and I'm like, wait, what? What are we doing?
What did Martin Keleba do?
Describe his face to me.
He's the guy with dwarfism. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean.
He was in there. I didn't see him in there.
Maybe he was in one of the background things when they had live action people.
Or what he probably did. We'll get to that in a second. There were so many.
I mean, there was a lot of references.
It really was. No, I thought the whole Warner Brothers simulation thing, I kind of scratched my head. I was like, they want to do what?
Yep.
That was your take on it?
Obviously, when we're talking about characters, Justin Roiland was in there. But who else should we talk about? There was Wonder Woman. There was Iron Giant, King Kong.
Both the 2019 Joker was in there. The 1989 Joker was in there. Adam West Batman was in there. Robin, the Robin to Adam West was in there. The monkeys from Wizard of Oz.
Orange Clockwork.
Yep, Orange Clockwork. Dr. Freeze, the George Clooney movie, was in there.
Who else?
I saw 1989's Batman in there. I saw the Penguin, the Tim Burton Penguin.
The one played by Danny DeVito?
Yes, I saw him.
Okay.
I saw Hannibal.
I saw something that what was it that Among Us was like an Easter egg in there.
I thought I saw that too, but I was questioning myself. I was like, that Among Us?
Yeah.
There were so many, the Flintstones, Yogi Bear, Space Ghost, the Jefferson.
let's see, who was this?
Oh,
I'm looking at it.
I saw the
Pennywise.
Pennywise. I saw the live action Wonder Woman, the current one.
Gal Gadot. You
Yeah.
had Thundercats.
I thought I saw Thundercats, but I wasn't sure.
Then you had I'm trying to think of this guy's name, but I can't remember. Smith from The Matrix. Agent Smith. It's either that or an MIB person. But he's
Yeah,
on an earpiece.
I did see him. I think I saw two of him.
You had the Mystery Machine.
I saw the Scooby-Doo gang.
You had a flying boat. You had the Flintstones.
The flying boat, that was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon character. The purple hippo. I can't think of his name. He's the purple hippo of the safari. I think he used to teach kids the safari animal wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw Harvey Birdman, Bird Girl.
You mean Hot Girl?
Oh, I thought her name. Yeah, her.
From like DC Comics?
No.
Devil was there.
No. So Hanna-Barbera created Harvey Birdman, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he created a female psychic form called Bird Girl.
Okay,
So,
I thought you were talking about Hot Girl from the comics.
I'm sure they were there too. I mean, did I see Superman? I don't think I saw Superman.
I think Superman was in there. The Mask was in there.
I did see the Mask. The Mask threw me off. I forgot the Mask was a Warner Brother property. I thought it was a Columbus Picture character.
Yogi Bear, Captain Caveman.
Did you see Captain Caveman? Yeah. He flew in once they started.
Let's see. There's, I think, The Nun. I think the
I
horror
did-
movie.
I did see the Nun, which that one I was thrown off that they showed Pennywise too. I was like, okay.
Baby Jane. I don't know what she's from.
I don't know neither.
There was Game of Thrones though.
There was Game of Thrones because I saw the dragon lady, the white hair.
There was General Zod, Leonidas. Let's see if we can find any more. I felt like I'm trying to think of who else I saw.
I'm trying
Willy
to think.
Wonka.
I didn't see Willy Wonka.
Harry Potter. I think I saw an Oompa Loompa, but I can't remember.
Oh, you know what? I do remember the Oompa Loompa now that I think about it. I was like, there's so many characters trying to add. You're just trying to like scan it, and there's some that are way on back there that they didn't focus on much.
They did a great job of just blending them into the background.
That's what I'm saying. It was like, I think they did a well job, but at the same time, I was too focused trying to hunt everybody in the crowd at some point.
Yeah, you had some of the what are they called? Ice Walkers from Game of Thrones.
I did see the Ice Walkers. The Ice Walkers were standing next to the George Clooney Batman Mr. Freeze, and I was like, that was his henchman? I was like, no, that's the Game of Thrones people.
Yeah. And then you got some knights. I don't know what they're from.
I don't know neither. I know I saw them too, and I was confused. I was like, knights, but that made me think of Monty
Python. I thought so, but I didn't think they were owned by them.
They're not. I had to Google. I Googled it afterwards. I was like, the Holy Grail movie. I was like, that's not Warner Brothers.
I could have sworn I saw some Harry Potter characters, but I couldn't remember.
Oh, I'm sure they were there. I mean, they made a reference to Harry Potter like multiple times.
Yeah.
That's like, even when they went by the planet, he's like, I'm a Hufflepuff.
Oh, that's who else? Leatherface. Leatherface was there.
I did see Leatherface.
Was Freddy Krueger? I think I saw him, but I can't remember.
I thought I saw his sweat. I know sometimes they would pan it out and you'd see some characters. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
It was just.
there was a lot of horror characters. You know?
Yeah. Which I didn't think Warner Brothers owned the rights to.
I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing.
Well, I know Freddy Krueger was New Line Cinema, but I do feel like Warner Brothers bought them out because they were in a financial crisis in the early 2000s.
Hmm.
So that could be why he was there. Because, when a movie studio starts to fail, they try to sell it, and you know how it is.
Yeah.
You get all their properties now, it's a cruel, cruel business.
I mean, it's like Ice Age being owned by Disney now.
I know, and I saw that on Disney Plus, and I was like, okay.
It's weird at times with all these buyouts. But can we talk about the Game Boy situation going on?
Yeah, man, his coach threw the Game Boy out in the trash. I was like, what's wrong with you?
I was like, that seems kind of drastic. I mean, you were just a little distracted. I mean,
Bruh, me too. I was like, well, at first I was lost because that's what I had went and got popcorn or my snack because I got in there just in time. And for some weird reason, me not thinking, of course they're going to do a, flashback scene because that's how they did it in the first one too with Michael Jordan and his dad.
yeah.
For some weird reason, I was like, man, this looks like the 80s. And of course, it typed in Cleveland, it flashed Cleveland, Ohio, 1989. I was like, oh, this is the flashback scene. Oh, yeah, man, his teammate just gave him a Game Boy, and he was just playing Looney Tunes. His coach said, give me this. This is a distraction. He just throws it in the dump. I was like, bro, the kid's like 10 years old. Let him play the Game Boy.
I didn't see Bill Murray, though.
Dude, I was kind of upset. I was hoping to see a Bill Murray.
Yeah. But what else was there? But we need to get back on topic.
I mean, we're technically on topic.
So, about it, I mean, like, more about it. Like, what'd you think of the Goon Squad compared to the other one?
I thought I liked it. Like I said before, when I went to see them, I liked their jerseys.
See, I will say their skill sets made it more interesting.
Yeah, the way their skills were.
It made the original Goon Squad look weak.
It really did. Or the Monstars. Yeah, the Monstars.
Yeah.
I thought so too. Like I was thinking about it when I was driving back home. I was like, bro, that Goon Squad could destroy the Monstars. That's what we really need is the alien people. I saw the alien people there too in the original movie.
Yeah.
I saw them. Remember they flashed to them, all sitting there. I was like, oh hey, it's the little alien guys.
I could have sworn I saw Doc Brown too, but I don't know. I can't remember exactly. Sorry.
Oh no, you ain't the only one. I did too. I thought I saw them too. And Marty. I thought I saw them too. You're not the only one, but I wasn't sure. That was one of them situations where they just like pan the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. But no, I know what you mean. But no, I thought that too. I was like, this Goon Squad could destroy the Mon Squad.
Yeah. I did think the the Toon Squad's jerseys were better than the Goon Squad's.
Yeah, I like that baby blue. You know what's funny? I went to go work out yesterday, and somebody was wearing the original Toon Squad T-shirt while they were working out, and I was like, huh, how ironic that I just saw that movie. But see what bothers me though, and is they did the whole, the old Looney Tune logo, and they put it on the side. They didn't put it on the center.
Okay.
And that
I liked it. I liked it on the side. It was a different take.
See, I'm the type of person, I don't like the logos and stuff to be on the side. I see why they did it. It's not a bad take. But personally, I'm a big, hey, let's put the logo in the center. Well, it wasn't a bad choice with that baby blue.
What did you think about the animation style?
I thought it was, when they went into the cartoony world, I thought it was very clean and crispy. Like it wasn't, I liked it. I liked Little Ron as a toon.
Okay.
I would have been fine if they stayed in 2D in the whole movie, personally.
See, I got used to it. Like I was like, okay, that made sense. Like, and then like for the original style, and then they'd switch it, and I was like, hold up, this is hitting different.
Oh, the 3D merge. Oh my, dude, I didn't know how I
But
felt about some of them.
I liked it at first. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I think I like the 3D merge more than I like the 2D version.
You like the 3D version better?
Yeah, because it made it more sense with LeBron there. You know.
Yeah.
Now,
Which
if they did a third, I would say they should probably stick to the 2D.
sticks to 2D. I don't think they're
Yeah.
gonna make a. I think they're not gonna make a third one. It's
Or
probably
if
gonna be
they
one.
did, it'd be in the next couple decades.
That's what
If
I'm
they
saying.
did.
We'll probably see a third one with a new upcoming star, and then we're gonna be like, let's go see this.
Okay.
But no, the
Um,
3D to me, the only one that looked weird to me in 3D was Lola.
Lola didn't look weird to me in 3D.
Her and Bugs to me looked a little weird. But it wasn't a bad move. You know, thinking about it, seeing the screenshots, it's like, ooh. But then like watching the move, I was like, okay, this really ain't
Yeah.
that bad. Like it wasn't odd. You know what I mean?
See, you say that, but like the characters that looked weird to me in 3D were like the more human ones, like what's his name? I'm forgetting his name now.
So Yosemite
Yosemite.
Sam.
Yeah, Yosemite Sam and Granny.
Really?
Elmer could get by because he was similar to Porky, but still.
Yo, Porky's rap, dude.
Dude, Porky rapping was weird to me. I was just like, what the crap?
Yo, it came out of no, it came out of nowhere too. Like the way they set it up, he's like, Porky, drop some bars, and you know they're doing like the exactly. He's like, meh, 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 meh. Yo, my name Big Porky, and like I'm just like, what?
See, he starts out stuttering and then boom, flawless
Exactly.
rapping, and I'm
Oh,
just like, what? Come again? What?
I know. He's like me. Blah, 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 blah. Yo, my name, and like he just goes off. I'm like, what? Get a piggy.
I will say with the team they created, I like how they included some different characters.
Yeah, they didn't just stick to the main ones.
Yeah, like they did in Space and in the first one.
Yeah,
But
for real.
if they did do a third one, I would love to see like more obscure Looney Tunes characters be brought up, like Gossamer did. Um, because yeah, you got the you can keep the like core the core couple ones like Daffy, Bugs, Lola.
I was
You know,
surprised. I was surprised. Well, I'm not surprised. They made Daffy like the assistant coach, and yeah, Daffy didn't know what he was doing.
I thought that was the least weird thing about this movie.
I was looking at it, and Daffy goes, "I want to coach." I was like, "What? No, Daffy, I want you on the court." No, 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 I'm gonna coach. Hey, LeBron, what do we do? Daffy, you want to do this? You should know what you're doing.
I'm trying to think of what the premise of a third Space Jam movie could entail. Because, okay, you have video games aren't evil, but I love my son. For two, first one is, hey man, our property is in danger. We need your help. I don't know what story aspect they would be able to pull for a third one.
I know. I mean, that's what all I could think of. The only thing I could think of was like evil Looney Tune characters try to take over the third world, like the real life world.
See, I was thinking the Toon Squad needs to team up with like a new NBA player for to like take on like other Warner Brother properties because
Oh, cool.
there's like a rivalry there. You could also do in a third one because a similar premise to the first one, but with a different sport.
Oh, I like that. Hey, I like that rivalry one.
hmm
That would be a pretty
Um,
cool one.
what else can we talk about? Because we're on 79 minutes so far.
Oh wow. What'd you think about? Oh, here. What'd you think about them going to each world? You know how they went to each world?
I loved it, and I think it would have made more sense if it wasn't a Warner Brother property situation, to where Alki Rhythm was made by Warner Brothers. No, it was like Alki Rhythm going into the Warner Brothers property. He's like, hey, there's some lucrative stuff here. That would have made more sense for me.
I'm not gonna lie. I liked how they started recruiting people, and they go to the DC world, and LeBron James goes, "Why am I Robin?" And Bugs Bunny's like, "I'm Batman. I'm Batman."
Yeah.
And then they see the speeding train, and then he's like, "Come on, Doc," and then he's
Daffy
like,
would definitely do that though.
"He would," and I wasn't. Part of me wasn't even surprised on why a speeding train got kidnapped. I was like, all right, which villain did this? And then here you see Daffy trying to do a PR stunt. I'm like, I'm not
Daffy
even
would do
surprised.
it. Dude, you know what would be probably the best thing to do in a Space Jam 3? Hanna-Barbera versus Looney Tunes, and they each get like one real person, and they're just hashing it out. And then the athlete at the end of it, everyone hands like, "Good game," and like no one's taking it seriously except for the two athletes, and they're like, "What? We did all this, and you guys are just cool now?" Well, yeah,
That'd
it's a
be a good one.
cartoon. Yeah, that would be really good.
One thing I was kind of glad they introduced like two WNBA stars.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. They included two stars. They didn't just, you know,
Yeah.
they didn't exclude them. So I thought that was a smart move.
Let's see. Let's look at the athletes. So you have Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard,
Yo, he was cool. I like his character. He was like a giant bird.
Sequia
Hey.
Martin Green.
Hey, keep talking. I got to answer a quick text, okay?
Okay, Klay Thompson. You didn't really even tell me that, but okay. Diana Taurasi. Let's see. LeBron James, obviously. And then I don't know much about him, but Chris Davis, I think he's a baseball player. Yeah, he's nicknamed Crush. Is an American professional baseball player, left fielder, and designated hitter who is currently a free agent. He was also mentioned that he's in the MLB.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, I had to answer a quick text. Thank you for doing that for me real fast.
No problem. You know what they could do? They could do an MLB version.
See, I'd like that one too. I would like different sports spin-offs.
Yeah.
It's just the premise is like, how can we make this premise more?
You know what I thought was weird?
What do you think was weird?
Like they're bringing up Michael Jordan, and then does LeBron James know about Space Jam 1?
See, they kept mentioning that, and LeBron's like, doesn't even talk about it. He's not even dazed and confused. He's like,
yeah, like it wasn't a weird thing to him. I don't know if they explained it to him at some point in the movie, or if
no, they didn't explain it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, in this universe, Space Jam happened for real, but does anybody know?
No one knows because this one's televised. A bunch of people are kidnapped, so people know, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
because they kept making reference to they made references to the first one.
Yeah.
And LeBron didn't even acknowledge it. He was just like, "Hey, I need a basketball team."
Oh, there was also Nikula Gugumik in there. There was a lot of athletes basically, but basically, well, there's also Cassandra Starr. But basically, there's just a lot of there's also Kyrie Irving. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. There's a lot of athletes in there, but basically, they didn't explain it, and I was just under the assumption that LeBron was just like, man, they keep talking about a rival I have, because clearly they're both compete against each other, and I don't know if they're friends in real life, but I imagine that big name like Michael Jordan would probably be like a touchy subject for him, especially when he's fighting for his family.
That's what I'm saying. Like they kept making reference to it, and he wasn't even phased. He's like, I gotta get my boy. I need my super team. And like I was
Yeah.
just like, so in my mind, you gotta think the movie came out in what 1994, 95, 93.
Yeah.
So obviously LeBron would have known about it in that universe because it did happen, right? They didn't,
Eh,
and
Is LeBron a hero now in this universe?
I mean, I would assume so. Yeah, he pretty much
Because
just saved
he
the.
saved all those people that were kidnapped. Like the big LeBron James fans were all kidnapped into this little Warner Brothers universe. So there's that whole thing. And then another thing I was wondering is, okay, does LeBron James not know what Don Cheadle looks like?
Yeah, did he? Yeah, like he did kind of look confused when he went. We know when he confronted the AI at first, he looked at
Well,
him
no,
like,
like
"Bruh."
he got it was like an algorithm. He got that. He understood it. And clearly he's gonna hate technology more than he already apparently did because of the Game Boy um, from the 90s or 80s. But the dude seen like movies with Don Cheadle in it, right? Like
See, that's what I was
he's
also
had to
confused
see
about.
something with him.
See,
Let's
here's my
see.
thing. So here's my thing. If they talked about all these other Warner Brother things and they kept it in like a realistic time, so then yeah, then he would have to have seen Don Cheadle in the MCU, or any other movie he's done in the past.
Hold up. I'm looking up Warner Brothers movies with Don Cheadle. All right, so Warner Brother movies that Don Cheadle has been in: Ocean's 11, Rosewood, Ocean's 12, Rush Hour 2, Ocean's 13, Swordfish, uh, Fell Safe. Okay, so they're all Warner Brother properties. Okay,
Okay.
Don Cheadle's in those. So by this, there's at least three Don Cheadles running around. Well, at best, you have the actor, the algorithm, and whatever version of like I'm summing up these uh, 8 movies, like Warner Brothers Don Cheadle. There's like at best three. You could make an account for let's see, 8, 9, 10, 10 Don Cheadles in this Warner Brothers universe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what he kind. I was like, well, Don Cheadle's real. If everybody else is real,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it is what it is with that aspect of the movie.
And then, okay, I'm going to go one step further and say there's another 11th Don Cheadle, because Don Cheadle is Captain Planet, and technically Captain Planet is at one point was a property of Warner Brothers.
He still is in my. Yeah, he still is. What do you think they made that? I didn't. I'm also behind on Rick and Morty, by the way.
Okay, I mean I'm still behind too, but that's not the point. But I'm saying
Sorry.
the universe of this is very complicated. It's a great idea, like from a distance, but the more we look into this, the more problems we have. All right, so we're 88 minutes, and okay, let's talk about the results for the Olympics, and I have our in thing we can talk about. All right, so the Olympics currently, um, all right, so men's, let's see, we're gonna run through a couple of the stuff. So
Yeah, go ahead, talk. I got it. There's something in our group chat that's fishy.
Zoltik versus Menina, women's 57 kilogram gold medal contest is today. Zoltik won 25-17. Men's street skateboarding was yesterday. Gold went to Ia Horigom. Women's 4x100 meter freestyle relay. Gold went to Australia. Today is women's vault. Currently in first is Biles for America. Women's U.S. second. Lee for artistic gymnastics currently. Women's 400-meter freestyle currently today is first is America Ledke. Today, France won 83-76 versus the United States in basketball. Road cycling was today. Gold went to, I can't pronounce his name and I don't know this flag. Kaisenhofer. All right, so basketball. United versus ROC. United went, this is in basketball women's 3x3 full round. United States 20, ROC 16, full round China 20, France 13, full round Japan 19 versus France 15, United States 22 to Romania's 11. Men's tournament full round, Latvia 21 versus Japan's 18, Netherlands 21 versus China's 18, Netherlands 21 versus Japan's 20, Poland 21 versus ROC 16. Women's archery today, gold medal. Hold up. Gold medal, South Korea in archery 6, ROC 0. Germany 5 versus Berlus 1. That was women's. I didn't see men's. Women's multiple rounds. These are completed. ROC semifinals 5, Germany's 1. Semifinals, South Korea 5, Berlus 1. Quarterfinal, Berlus 5, Japan 3. Quarterfinal, ROC 6, United States 0. Subdivision 5 gymnastics vault completed. Division 5, Andrea for Brazil, points 15.1, vault 15.4, vault 2 14.8. South Korea, Yeo, 14.8, vault 1 15, vault 2 14.6. Mexico's Monroe, points 14.633, vault 1 14.833, vault 2 14.43. I'm sorry, 14.433. So Division 2 for women's vault, Canada, Olsen 14.69, 69, vault 1 14.966, vault 2 14.43. Switzerland Steinengroder 14.566, vault 1 14.83, vault 2 14.3. Canada Black 14.416, vault 1 14.53, vault 2 14.3.
That's crazy. Some big time.
If you want.
No, let's cut it from there. Otherwise, I feel like it'll be another 30 minutes of just stats.
Okay, so wait a minute. Fencing is today, and the Kiefer won 15-13. Men's shooting 10-meter air rifle, gold went to W. Schwainer, and then I read you Zolik versus Manita. But yeah, those are the standings as we currently record this. Devin, past couple episodes we've been focusing on Space Jam. So with the Warner Brothers thing going on, I'm going to have you pick, out of all the Warner Brother property, I'm going to have you pick a team from all the Warner Brother properties there is, okay?
Okay.
I've already got my team, and I'll run through them.
Go ahead. You go first.
But I'll let you think about it. So I've got Harry Potter, The giant from Harry Potter. I feel like he could size up somebody pretty well. He's pretty
Oh,
though, so I don't know how he'll do under pressure. Deadshot from DC Comics, or more
oh,
accurately, Suicide Squad.
ooh, dude, I can't wait for that movie. I wish we could go see that movie together.
Yeah. Ben Tennyson, of
Oh,
Cartoon
Ben 10?
Network. He's the wild card. My second wild card is The Mask.
Oh, that's a good one.
Then I have Prince of Persia 3D 1999, a video game owned by Avalanche Software, which was owned by Warner Brothers. Then
Oh,
I
yeah,
have,
that's that movie. Yeah, I've seen the movie. The
well,
Prince of
I'm talking about the video game.
wasn't
The
it a
video
video
game came out first, and it was a Warner Brothers property.
Oh, okay.
But I also have Wilt from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It's a Cartoon Network show.
You want the blue guy?
No, Wilt is the big red guy who is like basketball themed.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, because his real life friend was Scottie Pippen, wasn't it? Or Dwayne
I have
Wade?
no clue, but it was some professional basketball player.
I feel like yeah, I gotta find that episode because that was literally like an arc at some point in the show.
Yeah. And then I threw in another one just for safety, which was Bobobo, an Adult Swim, and it was Adult Swim show, anime. I also did some coaching staff, and I got Miss Martian from Young Justice because that telepathy I thought could help the team. And then I also have Don Toretto from Fast and Furious, which I think was owned by Warner Brothers property. If not, but I think he really will ground the team as a family.
It's for family.
I also have an entire backup team, but I'll tell you that once you pick out yours.
All right, so I'm gonna choose my starting five, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm going with King Kong for my center
Okay.
because I mean he's just a beast, and all I want him to do is just stay in the paint.
You're not going to go with Iron Giant like LeBron James would?
No, I feel like Iron Giant would just fall apart on me. That's another thing. I can't remember all on his board. Like on his board, I remember too, and he was trying to recruit. He said King Kong, Iron Giant, Superman. What was the other two? Oh, Batman, and there was one more.
I don't remember.
I don't remember neither, but it was all those big time players. And he was like, "You think Superman will come play with me?" And I was like, "Bro, Superman ain't coming to play ball. King Kong, maybe." So, anyways, I'm choosing King Kong at center. At power forward, I'm going with. Let's see, who am I going with? I'm going with a big guy, power forward. You know what? Can I use Looney Tune characters?
I mean,
Or
if
we
you
can.
want, all of Warner Brothers properties. I just avoided using Looney Tune characters because it felt too cheap. Or
Okay, here I won't choose Looney Tunes. You know what? Since you're using Ben 10, I'm gonna use Kevin.
wait,
I'm gonna
which
put
Kevin? Like Kevin 11?
yeah the OG Kevin. Since you're using the OG Ben
Like
10.
from like Alien Force or the kid Kevin?
Which Ben 10 are you using?
I haven't determined, but I think you should do Kevin 11 from Ben 10 Alien Force because he had a better control on his powers.
All right, there, that'll be ours. You'll do the Ben 10 of Alien Force. I'll do the Kevin 11 from Alien Force. That's an even playing field.
Wait, could Kevin like pick up skills from other people? I don't think he could.
I think he pretty much just stuck to Ben 10's powers. That's about it. Because, he had the Omnitrix, and he pretty much stuck to that. It's been so long. And that's what I'm upset about. Hulu doesn't have Alien Force on there. And I'm like, I really wanted to watch that one.
Yeah.
That one, to me, the tone was more serious. And had,
Okay.
to me, that show had better character development than the original.
Now I need to focus. Who else
Anyways.
do we got?
All right, so my small forward, I'm going with the Flash.
Okay, we're pulling up Speedy Gonzalez.
Well, I need speed. I'm going with the Flash. My small guard, I'm gonna go with Harry. Just
Harry
because
Potter?
I'm going with Harry Potter.
Okay. So you got Prince of Persia, which I don't know if that cancels out your Flash because time manipulation. Harry and Haggard are definitely not taking things serious and probably are on the side, just having a chat. Um, you got King Kong who can't fit on the court. I knew, who did you have as a cartoon character?
As a what now?
You had Ben and Kevin, which cancel each other out. So who else did you have?
I had King Kong, Kevin, and Harry, and the Flash. So I need one more.
Mm-hmm.
I need one more. Who's gonna be my last? Who's gonna be my last character that's a Warner Brothers property? Let's see. I'm trying to think of a movie. I'm gonna do a movie. Let's see. Now you see me. I think it's Warner Brothers. Not Short Circuit. That's not Warner Brothers. I don't think. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to not have too much dead air. Let's see. I need a fifth character. Let's see. Warner Brothers movies. Warner Brothers movies. You know what? I'm gonna go with Neo from The Matrix.
Okay.
I think it's.
Yeah. I debated on Morpheus for a while.
I just think he's agility, and I think some weird. I think this game would just turn out wacky. Like I think that'd be an interesting
Yeah.
game.
So the other team I had.
And on my who's going to be on my staff here? You chose two people on your staff, right? Your assistant in your head.
Uh-huh.
So my assistant, I'm gonna choose Hermione because I think she could draw up some stuff.
Oh yeah, she'd be a good pick.
I think she could draw up some brains of the operation, and I think a good strong leader would be. I'm gonna go Superman just because he has good leadership.
See, my original thought was Sheldon Cooper, but then I realized that his brain would get in the way of like other stuff for my coaching staff. But my backup team that I had was the entire team of the Super Globetrotters at Boomerang Show because they had their own Boomerang Show.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, that was my backup team.
I like
All right,
it.
Devin, let's do the closing statements.
All right.
So you can check out my podcast, The Random Hour. It airs the second Sunday. The first Sunday of every month. We also have a website. Would you like to tell them about that?
Yes, the website where you guys can check out. You can check out our Twitters. Or did you fix it where it was both our Twitters or just yours?
I could not fix it to both. I did try though.
Okay, I knew you were trying. So you can check out Kyle's Twitter. You know, Kyle, you tweet more than me because let's face it, my Twitter's nothing but football related. So I feel like people would enjoy your Twitter more. There's links to all the Random Hour podcast episodes, and there's bio pics with us to get to know us. And yes, I did make a cameo on Attack on Titans.
Yeah, well, they use your royalties, but they never give you anything. Let us know if you do want to. We may end up doing that extra podcast, that third podcast in our belt, because I think it would be the easiest one for us to do as people, because we're already watching a bunch of media. It would just take us like sitting down to talk about it like once a month. We'll see if that happens.
Ooh, my stomach, man. That Pop-Tart did not sit well.
That sucks.
I know.
Yeah. I think that's about it, Devin.
I think that's about it.
Looking at 103 minutes.
Do you want to promote the following episode that's coming out for the Random Hour? Since I'm going to drop this August 1st.
I don't know what's coming out next.
I can't remember neither.
Hold on.
I'm not going to promote exploding genital candles and UFO, but I just did. So check out, our favorite episode, UFOs and exploding genital candles.
Hold up, I'm trying to get Wi-Fi on my computer so I can see it.
So you can see it.
Yeah, just stall for airtime.
All right, stalling for airtime. We hope you guys are having a wonderful time here on the podcast because we sure are filming these for you guys. And just remember, we also have an email address for you guys to ask questions for both podcasts at random.cast@gmail.com. Be free to email us questions or sports article topics you guys want us to talk about, and we will do it.
You should also explain the what? You need to explain the trivia thing because we already talked about that.
Oh, the trivia one we did for this episode.
Yeah, the trivia one because it was supposed to go out in August.
Yes. Okay. So, guys, we did a special episode. I was supposed to actually drop, well, August 1st, but on September, we did a little trivia game called Guess This Pro Wrestler. So, what we did was for the format, I chose, it was either 17 or 16 wrestlers. It wasn't 20. And Kyle had to guess them all. So, how the rules work and how we can let you guys even work is you can pause it, guess the wrestler description, and if you're right, you're right. There are no grand prizes. I wish there was a grand prize.
Devin, you would be giving me a prize then.
Oh, yeah, I do need to give you a prize.
Because that's how that would work. Okay, hold up. I'm almost there.
You almost there?
Yeah.
So September 1st, check out Wrestling Trivia.
August would be nerd. Wait. Let's see. It's either I think it's Would You Rather.
Would you rather? Which episode was that? Was that an old one?
Yeah, where we filmed Would You Rathers.
Okay.
Do you not remember?
I don't. Was this the drinking one?
No.
Ooh. Oh no. Speak. Oh no. Kyle.
Two options, and we had to pick which one we would rather do.
Okay. Oh, dude, I thought I lost you for a second.
Did you hear anything of what I just said?
It cut out on my end for a second there, and I was like, oh no.
Okay, well, we need to finish this because we're at 106 now.
All right, let's go.
107.
All right.
Well, we gotta.
All right. Well, everybody, we hope you have a wonderful day.